Hi everyone, Anthony Becker here. So I'm coming to you tonight because basically I want to set the record straight, give my statement, and basically I'm on the record on this. So the news story that came out today was on SantaClaraNews.org. The writer Robert Haw has never contacted me once in the entire time I've known of him, and I've ran for office here in Santa Clara and been on the Planning Commission. He writes stories. He never actually has reached out to ask me for that quote.
He has always written a story without any factual evidence or sources to his claims.
So basically, what he does is he has slanderous news. And if you ask me, a lot of places like Twitter and a few other places, they don't they won't allow these kind of things. And I'm surprised he gets away with this, because I know journalists. Journalists have actually contacted me. I've spoke to journalists and they've asked me for quotes. Mr. Haw has never, ever contacted me for a quote. He just continues to write things that he thinks is true with no valid proof. I've always, when I used to comment on his blog, I used to ask him the question, "Please provide me some proof with your reasoning." No one would ever give any proof. And at the same time, a lot of the comments on that blog are often hateful, homophobic, and racist. So let's dive into what the whole issue is about. Is his news story? He came out with the news story today, and it says Anthony Becker flip flops, opposes a development agreement less than an hour after supporting it at a council meeting. Now, here's the thing. I gave my statement during my 2 minutes at the public hearing. 2 minutes, you have to rush as fast as you can to get what you want to say out. The thing is I supported the ENA from what all the evidence I was hearing at that moment. But after me, there was a lot more people from the public that were speaking, and these were things that I did not know about or hear about on this project that brought a lot more concerns to me. At the same time, when council started to speak about this and deliberate about it, it made even more sense to start being concerned about this and for me to suddenly start switching my position to
We shouldn't be supporting the ENA.
this is a dangerous thing we're getting into because, like I said, this is a transit oriented area. And we're going to build something like this, but it was mainly being designated to Santa Clara University students. And I don't think that's fair, because there's a lot of people out there that are making minimum wage at $15 an hour that would really like to have a place to live, and they make about under 30 some $1,000s a year. These these places that were going to be built in this project, yes, they get that affordable housing, AMI between 30% and 80%. But how much you want to bet that this is going to start moving more towards 80% or the in between? And it's going to also be more catering to Santa Clara University students who will actually fork out that $1,700 to $1,800 a month for rent. So when Mr. Haw reports these things, he doesn't look into the more of the issue of what I was trying to be concerned about, because there's no such thing as flip-flopping in this, because as a planning commissioner, I have to look at all sides. And when I hear certain information in the beginning, when I make a statement in public, because not to mention, I'm not allowed to go back up and say, second thought, I really don't like this, mayor and council. This is kind of really concerning. We aren't allowed to go back up to bat again to speak. So I think Mr. Haw needs to start getting some of his facts straight. He needs to stop censoring people on his website, and at the same time, the people who comment on there continue to spread nothing but hateful comments, racist comments, and homophobic comments that do nothing but make him look really poor as a journalist. And if you want to consider him to be a journalist, I guess you could say he's wanting to be Walter Cronkite. So, as you could expect, he'll probably go and attack me because of this video, which I really highly don't care, because I'm running a campaign on positivity and running a campaign on what I can do to help the people of Santa Clara. Because things like what was happening the other night shouldn't just be decided in one room and on one night. This should be decided throughout many community engagements. And based on what the community was saying that night, this is a sign that said
That
that
the
and
ENA,
should have never been passed, and we should have been looking at for better projects, because the thing is developers have been taking advantage of Santa Clara for years. And now people like myself, Commissioner Jane, and others, especially on the planning commission, we're asking for the moon. We're asking for what Santa Clarans deserve and what this community deserves. And so when we see that before, when we used to just stamp of approval to give to a development without the consideration of the neighborhoods or the community, it makes no sense because it continues to be the same old business as usual in Santa Clara. So I just wanted to clear the air on this and put my statement out there because, like I said, Mr. Ha has never once contacted me ever for a quote. And he writes things without any evidence, without anything backing him up. And he just takes certain images or certain pieces of the story and puts it out there. And I call that yellow journalism. I think all of us learned about that in history class back when we were in high school or in college. So maybe he might need to refresh himself on that, on taking those courses. But like I said, I just want to clear the air and make my statement because slanderous news like this that gets out, people only see a certain piece of it, which is what I call the tip of the iceberg. They don't see the entire iceberg. So my quote was taken out of context, and I do agree that I was supporting the EIN in the beginning, but after hearing more evidence made me change my position because I think in America and a lot of people we are entitled to a second opinion, and we're entitled to having a second thought on that. So I hope you all found this enlightening, and I hope Mr. Ha found it enlightening as well. And I hope to see you guys on the campaign trail because this is about winning this election and changing the tone on this city council to provide a better community for Santa Clara. Because what we're doing is we're building a better Santa Clara to believe in by putting the community first rather than the politics. Maybe people can take a lesson from this. Thanks again, everybody.